NASCAR released a schedule for all three National Touring Series on Wednesday, and there's some surprises, like the Truck Series headed to St. Petersburg with IndyCar. We also learned that Kentucky Speedway is, in fact, not abandoned. We'll get to that in a second. And what are some markets that NASCAR could be looking at in the future? Welcome back to Brake Hard. I'm Matt. I'm not being held captive here. This is not a hostage video. I have traveled to the Brake Hard South headquarters to get ready for this weekend's race at Daytona. I'll be at the track on both Friday night and Saturday night. But before we get there, let's talk about all three National Touring Series having their schedules released on Wednesday. NASCAR let everybody know where the Cup Series, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, it's going to take some getting used to, and the Truck Series is headed in 2026. The biggest surprise comes from the Truck Series. They are headed to St. Petersburg, February 28th to have a joint weekend with the IndyCar Series, who are opening up their season that weekend as well. And I know some people are probably wondering, that is a very odd pairing, and the Truck Series around St. Petersburg is going to be a bit like a bull in a china shop. It's going to be tight. It's going to be condensed. It's going to be like trying to put a cruise ship through a canal. It's going to be difficult at times, and yeah, it is. But you have to keep in mind that Fox also broadcasts the IndyCar Series and the Truck Series, and this is a perfect double weekend opportunity for them and for NASCAR. As they said in their press conference, having the Truck Series go to a street race makes a lot of sense. It is a development series. Street racing is going to be in NASCAR's future, so let these guys get used to racing on the streets earlier rather than not. So it's certainly an interesting experiment. I was shocked when a driver texted me on Wednesday morning and said, "Hey, we're headed to St. Pete." I was like the street course? Yeah. Okay, well, that's going to be fun. Good luck with that. The Truck Series, though, is headed to 5 road courses in 2026. They're going to start off with St. Petersburg. They're going to go to Watkins Glen. They've got Lime Rock. They've got San Diego. And they've got the Roval all on the calendar next season. It's going to be a road course heavy schedule for the Truck Series. 5 of their 25 races will be on road courses. That is 20% for all the math whizzes out there. That is more than what the Cup Series had this year, and everybody's complaining about that. So I can't imagine what's going to happen next year with the Truck Series, though. The Truck Series is losing some races, or at least tracks that had dates there. We have lost Pocono. I don't think anybody's going to be upset about losing a 7-lap stage, essentially, there. The spring Martinsville race is gone, as well as the race at Las Vegas. It has been replaced with San Diego, St. Petersburg, as well as Dover on NASCAR All-Star Weekend. It'll be a triple header there for NASCAR All-Star Weekend, with the All-Star race happening during the day on Sunday. Not ideal. They're kind of building it around like that 250th, anniversary of the United States and things like that. So maybe, but losing the Las Vegas race is kind of a bummer. That race is always actually very entertaining. I understand it from a cost standpoint for sure. We also have Darlington being moved to the spring and Kansas being moved to the fall for the Truck Series as well. On the O'Reilly Auto Parts side of things, for that series next year, Portland is gone. Sorry to all the people that live in the Pacific Northwest. You will not have a national NASCAR Touring Series presence in 2026, which is a big-time bummer. That is an area of the country that has been absolutely starved of having a NASCAR date. They finally get it with the Xfinity Series, and now it's going to be gone. They are racing there next weekend, I believe, with the Xfinity Series. So if you want to see it, this is going to be your opportunity. If not, you'll probably have IndyCar there next year. Big time bummer to not be racing in the Pacific Northwest for them. So Portland out, Mexico out, Chicago Street Course, all those out for the Xfinity Series next year. The Xfinity Series will be replacing those with San Diego, a race at Chicagoland on 4th of July weekend. Actually, it's going to be on the 4th of July, as well as a second Darlington date as well. So it's kind of a bummer. I think everybody was hoping to maybe see Michigan on the Xfinity Series schedule this year. That's just not going to happen, which is a bit of a bummer for sure. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, everything on the schedules, I think it's diverse enough, scheduled well enough that it's not going to be absolutely crazy. The Cup Series guys do have a bit of a treacherous stretch where they go Kansas, Vegas, Charlotte, Phoenix, Talladega. Like, that is a lot of going back and forth across the country there for those truck drivers. But overall, I think the schedule is good. I'm glad that they paired up Sonoma with San Diego so that you're not having teams go all the way back east to go all the way back out west. They can just go up the coast to Sonoma. I think that's very smart. A nice little west Coast Swing in the middle of June there. So overall, I think the schedule's fine. I know there's going to be some people that are probably upset about a couple of different things about it. People in the Northeast are upset about Watkins Glen being moved to May. They're upset about Dover losing their points paying date for the Cup Series. We also did learn, speaking of the Cup Series, that the Atlanta Summer Race as well as North Wilkesboro in July, both of those races will be Sunday night races, which is good because if not, they were going to have everybody absolutely baking out in the sun, probably looking like bacon by the end of it. Flip them over, just get the next side, and they're going to be well done by the end of the day. Just an absolutely atrocious date if that has to be during the sunlight hours. Putting it at night makes it a little bit more tolerable. Kentucky Speedway is not abandoned. Contrary to what all of the influencers on the internet say because they broke into the racetrack, it is in fact not abandoned, and the Gallatin County Sheriff's Department wants everybody to know, hey, it is in fact trespassing because they've arrested over 30 people for attempting to get into or trespassing at Kentucky Speedway. Obviously, over the last few months, we've seen influencers go down there. They're going into the racetrack, going up into the flag stand, walking to the grandstand, going through the garage, sitting inside of the old driving experience cars, and just generally kind of messing about there. And the Sheriff's Department wants everybody to know this is private property. You can't just walk onto it, and it is still a revenue generating property at that because there's portions of the property that are leased out to other companies. You can't just go wander around because you think it's abandoned. It is very much, in fact, not abandoned. There is still, things happening on that property. So if you go down there and you post a video from there, dumb. Don't do that. And well, I guess the Sheriff's Department would say, hey, yeah, do that so they can find out who you are, but don't do that. That is really stupid. I would imagine there's going to be increased security down there. If you're driving down 71 and you have the urge to stop in Sparta and see Kentucky Speedway when you're going from Louisville to Cincinnati or Cincinnati to Louisville or whatever else you're doing, pull up into that turn 3 area, look into the racetrack, take a photo, do whatever you want, but don't try to break into the racetrack. It is breaking and entering. It is trespassing. You will get arrested. You will have to pay a fine. You'll probably have to go in front of the court. It is just not worth the squeeze to see a racetrack that was never very good in its prime and still isn't very good even in its death or whatever it's currently in purgatory, whatever you want to refer to it as. So yeah, stay out of Kentucky Speedway for now, at least. I mean, it is still very much a property that is private and a property that still has things happening there, albeit not a lot. I understand that, but don't go in there. It's just not worth it. We've all seen the photos. We don't need to see another photo of Kentucky Speedway. Oh, look, the grass got taller. No one cares. I'll be honest with you. We know that it's gone. It's not a great racetrack overall. They ruined it when they changed the banking in it. They decided to abandon it under the guise of, well, we don't know if we'd be allowed to have fans there post-COVID, and they moved it down to Atlanta like they always wanted to do. That's how it's always going to play out here with SMI. That's what they do. Feel bad for all the people in Dover. I understand that's a business. I get it. But yeah, don't break into Kentucky Speedway. Just don't do it. What are some possible different markets NASCAR's looking at in the future? Well, on their press conference call, talking about the release of these schedules on Wednesday, Ben Kennedy mentioned a few different markets that NASCAR really wants to look at. The Pacific Northwest was one that was top of mind because obviously they took away that O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race for next year and didn't replace it with anything. He said they had conversations with multiple different track promoters and track operators up in that area, but just couldn't get a deal together or, haven't really gone all the way down that road yet, but would like to get something done, which is promising, right? Whether that be at Portland, whether it be a street race, or whether it be at a short track in that Pacific Northwest area, that region of the country absolutely deserves to have a NASCAR date. They've been starved for a NASCAR date. They deserve to have a Cup Series date for sure, and maybe they'll get it hopefully in the future. He also mentioned Colorado, Denver specifically, as another market that NASCAR really wants to get into. We've heard the talks about potentially doing a Denver street race. They have Pikes Peak sitting around, which is a solid racetrack. I would imagine that the surface is probably pretty good now. There's some legalese around why they couldn't do it or why they could do it and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's actually a viable option right now. Obviously, they haven't raced there in the better part of 20 years now. Yeah, probably somewhere around that range. So it'll be interesting to see if they could possibly maybe go back there in the future. If only Roger had built the racetrack that he had talked about doing back in the 90s there, which would have been out near the airport, this wouldn't even be an issue. Well, maybe it would have, but it could end up like Fontana being torn down to be replaced by an airport there that maybe has some other nefarious things happening to it. Who knows? I'm not saying I'm not a conspiracy guy here, but if you've ever been through the Denver airport, which I have been 100 times, there's a lot of things that are going on there if you want to go down the avenue. He also mentioned Canada as another market that NASCAR would like to get to, and it appears to be top of mind for 2027. I don't think the Cup Series has been north of the border since like 1958, maybe, somewhere in that range. It's been a long time. It's been a really long time. So maybe they would like to get north of the border and do a race up there, whether that be Montreal, whether that be Canadian Tire Motorsport Park or something else. That remains to be seen. They also want to go back to Mexico as well. Obviously, Mexico City just happened this year. World Cup's happening next year, so it didn't make it easy for the schedule makers to do a race there around the same time that they did it this year. So we'll see what happens. But overall, NASCAR's got their eyes on a few different markets. Now it's just actually executing, finding a partner there, whether that be with the city or a different racetrack, and getting everything done. But hey, at least they're exploring. Ben Kennedy is willing to take risk, and I think we should all appreciate that. So let me know in the comments what you think about the release of the 3 schedules. Do you think going to St. Pete is a good idea for the Truck Series? What do you think about breaking into Kentucky? Don't do it. And what markets would you like to see NASCAR go to? Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on TikTok at BreakHard, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at BreakHardBlog.